Welcome everyone to the South Florida Water Safety Symposium. My name's Laura Costanza. I'm with Team Horner Group based out of Fort Lauderdale. And today's topic is workplace safety and water safety in the pool and spa industry. This is a class that we offer to our contractors. It's an accredited class and it's applicable to everyone. Workplace safety, it doesn't matter what you do. The point is to become more aware of where we are and what we're doing. So I'm going to share my screen and we will get going here. All right. So my contact information is here. You can ask for it in the chat as well. I will be happy to share this presentation with anyone who would like it. The safer we are and the more aware we are, the better the outcomes. So to get us started, workplace safety begins with becoming mindful. And mindfulness is the basic human ability to be fully present, aware of where we are and what we are doing, and not overly reactive or overwhelmed by what's going on around us. So it's really being in the present moment. We have to evaluate constantly about what we're thinking about and what we're doing in order to be in a good space and have positive outcomes. Lots of times our body is present where we are, but our mind is drifting either in the past or into the future. If you've ever been hurt or had an injury or been in an accident, a lot of times if you think back to what you were thinking about, you weren't in the moment and something was distracting that caused the accident. So how do we practice mindfulness? Well, a formal meditation or, where you get up and you actually sit down and meditate, or you become more intentional and aware of the things that you're doing each moment and each day. So in this exercise, we're just going to take a moment to do a mindfulness practice. So I'd like you to just get comfortable in your seat, engage your body, take a deep breath in, exhale, just concentrate on that. Listen to my voice, because what we are incorporating now is sensory awareness. So you're breathing, you're listening. Take a moment to look around. Notice your surroundings. What's going on? The colors of things, the distance of things. You're still listening. Go ahead and touch the tips of your fingers. We're engaging our sense of touch. Notice any aroma or smells. Now you're engaging the sense of smell. And if you're enjoying a beverage, your water or your coffee, you take a sip, notice that sensation as well. This, my friends, is a mindfulness practice. So to apply it in our everyday, when we're moving around, the whole goal is to track our mind and what we're thinking about. If we're thinking about something else that's not relative to where we are, try to focus in on the present moment and what you are doing. I guarantee that you will do it better and more efficiently than you ever have for your money back. Okay, so think safety first. This is, throughout this presentation, you'll see some classic pictures of, human antics. And this is one of them. A guy's hanging a think safety first sign in his straddle in a stairwell. And this is some of the things that we do, because what we're trying to really encompass here is playing it safe versus not safe. So the object of workplace safety, and again, this presentation is applicable to homeowners and every day to what you're doing, whether you're in the home or you're actually working. But when we're in our workplace, this is to help us create an environment for ourselves, our staff, and our patrons that reduce the risk of injury or illness and is free from hazardous conditions. This is very important in the pool and spa industry because of all of the things that we handle, which a large part is hazardous chemicals. And this also, again, fulfills a mandatory requirement for state licensing. Every swimming pool and spa contractor has to take this course every 2 years. So we try to keep it fresh. So where is our workplace? It can be our shop, our store, our warehouse, our vehicle, our job site. It's everywhere we go. When we're sporting our logo, especially, that is our workplace. When we're not, we still need to be engaged in everyday safety. So hazards in our shop, in our warehouse, are largely pool chemicals. So there are signs that we can post, dangerous, hazardous pool chemicals, and this goes for retail outlets. There's 1.5 million swimming pools, residential swimming pools in the state of Florida. So there's a lot of pool stores around and a number of homeowners that are handling them. So in our store or warehouse, we need to store chemicals in a cool, dry, well-ventilated area. This, again, also applies to the homeowner. Why? Why cool? Because heat can cause some chemicals to fume or even catch fire. Dry, because additional moisture can cause chemicals to become volatile. If you have a bag of shock that's laying around, that is calcium hypochlorite, and it is a very volatile chemical or disinfectant. And it needs to be well ventilated because fumes can become a problem, especially if they are mixed fumes. So if we're keeping our acid and our chlorine in our outdoor shed with our gasoline and our lawnmower, if it's not well ventilated and we walk in there, we can get into trouble. Also beware of heights of where you store things because a lot of liquids we have in our storage areas. Again, if it's your shed, if you have gasoline, you want to be careful that that's not above eye level, or chlorine, because if you do have a leak, it can cause a bad situation. So I always encourage the use of PPE, which is personal protective equipment. This, again, is for the pool professional, but also for the homeowner. Anytime that you're dealing with hazardous chemicals or anything, yard work, you want to be prepared. When you put on the equipment, you become engaged in safety. So goggles, boots, gloves, earplugs, those would all be applicable to going out and mowing your lawn. It's also applicable to being in construction industry, as well as a dust mask and a hard hat if that is needed. Hazards on the job. Well, in the pool spa industry, we go out in backyards and we start digging holes. And then we line it with steel, very thin steel. And a lot of that goes up the side and is exposed and can look like shish kebab skewers. So we really need to be aware of where we're walking because we could take a fall. Also, we deal with power tools in the pool spa industry, and we are in an aquatic environment. Also, like I said, we dig holes. So every time we go in a backyard and we start digging, we need to call 811 or call 1-800-NO-DIGS. And that is where when you call that number, you can get the utility companies to come out and to mark where their lines are. When I was in the contracting, worked for a pool contractor, we did a job and dug a hole, and there was a miscommunication in our office, and that 811 was not called, and we hit the main power line that happened to be running through the middle of the yard. So they should be in the easements, but sometimes they're not. So luckily no one was hurt, but again, it just brings to our attention that awareness. Overhead hazards, again, watch everything that's above eye level. Again, we are in swimming pools. Most of them are in ground. So anytime that we have to renovate, we want to keep our equipment more towards the shallow end where it's chest length or chest high and not any higher. So hazards on the job. This has a lot to do with pool technicians. We are in the fields going in people's backyards. There's lots of hazards. First of all, the weather. We know in South Florida especially, but throughout the rest of the state as well. If you don't like the weather, just wait a minute. It means that sudden and abrupt weather can happen anytime, lightning storms and heavy rains. We are carrying metal poles, which are lightning rods. And so we have to be ultra aware when we're getting lightning in the area and trying to service a route of 20 pools in a day. One of the most important things that I promote with the contractors is vetting applicants to know if they know how to swim. There have been pool technicians that have drowned in either residential, well, mostly residential pools, because lots of pool techs work alone, and they were not asked at the beginning of the interview process whether or not they could swim. And so people wanting work or wanting to be in the field, but not thinking that they could become in a dangerous situation by not knowing how to swim. It's happened, and it's very unfortunate. So again, we try to raise that awareness within our contractors and their teams to make sure that everyone knows how to swim in our industry. And the last thing I draw attention to is inhabitants. The inhabitants are not only homeowners, they can sometimes be unpleasant, but we also have animals, either wild or domestic animals that are in the backyards, and pool techs have to be on ultra alert in order to stay safe. Here's some of the classic examples that were posts on Facebook pool groups. One had a baby gator in the skimmer basket, and another was doing a repair on a small, acre of land where the cow a calf came back and was watching them work. Also, when we are in the residential, when we are at people's homes, we need to be ultra aware of barriers and make sure that we close them up every time that we leave. Again, drowning, unintentional drowning is a number one killer of children 1 through 4. These baby gates are in place for that reason. It's not 100% effective, but it is a deterrent, and we want to make sure those are in place. Also, people have beloved pets, and unfortunately, not all pets can swim. So it's very important to also be aware that we lock those things up for them as well. I, of course, promote cool and warm clothing. It depends on what time of year, but our state of Florida is pretty long. We get up into more winter style conditions up in the Panhandle, but in South Florida, we're warm pretty much all year long, and we get lots of sun. So sun protection and proper hydration is key to keeping our techs safe. And also, again, homeowners, if you are doing your own pools, doing your own yard, we have to be ultra aware to implement these practices as well. We also have to remember that we're not the ones who do all the work on properties. A lot of times we're in aquatic facilities or commercial properties where other people have done work. They may not have done it correctly. In this photograph, somebody's got a 2-prong that's actually wired to live wires. But we also deal with automation and time clocks and all things electrical to run our pool and spa equipment. And again, a lot of our aquatic friends do dual duty, meaning they may be a lifeguard at an aquatic facility, and they're also a pool tech. They're CPO certified, perhaps, and they are maintaining or taking a look at the equipment and working with a pool company to make sure everything is safe. So what's wrong with this picture? Again, we have in commercial settings, especially aquatic facilities, you've got supply rooms or pump rooms, and sometimes they're mixed use. A pump room really should be designated for pool and spa equipment, but in this picture, it has chemicals in here, and it has lifeguard tubes. Those are the life-saving devices that they use, and chemicals all over the place. Anytime that you have pool chemicals, they should be lifted up off the floor in case a pump room floods or it's below the ground level. That can happen. And we want those things lifted up because remember, we want our chemicals kept cool in a cool, dry, and well-ventilated area. Again, homeowners, this applies to you. So workplace safety goes beyond OSHA. OSHA is our Occupational Safety and Health Administration that regulates these environments. Workplace safety begins with a complete and constant awareness of our surroundings. And again, friends, it's mindfulness. So we have to employ all of our senses. That is our first line of defense. So our smell, our sight, our hearing, taste might not be applicable, but feeling and touch is also. And we also have a sixth sense. The sixth sense is, my slide's off, but it's really in between our eyes. It's our intuition. And sometimes we are alerted that things are going wrong or something's not quite right, and it's not physically coming up for us. It's a feeling we have. We need to pay attention to those feelings and start to engage the rest of our senses to be on alert to see what could be the trouble. Also, cell phones. Cell phones is wonderful and convenient. As they can be extremely dangerous in a work environment because they can be distracting. I worked in a retail store for 6 years, and I had a lot of younger people, high school age, that would come to work for me after school. Everybody had a cell phone. I would have them put it behind the counter while they were working because what they would usually do is go out and fill chlorine or handle acid boxes and do restocking of chemicals. I didn't want them distracted by the phone because if they became distracted, it could become a chemical spill. And in this picture, this is classic, where people are getting off a bus or they're just crossing the street en masse. And 70% of these people here are looking down at their phone and not actually looking around for cars that could be in the area and in motion. That if a driver is also on their phone and texting, they may not be aware of what's in front of them and, go through people. So CYA, cyanuric acid, which is known as stabilizer or pool water conditioner in our field. CYA is not just cyanuric acid. It means cover your ass. And we do have to become more aware in order to stay safe and not become liable. All right, workplace safety and hazmat courses are offered online or through some insurance carriers for free. One of our major insurance carriers in the pool spa industry offers OSHA classes, accident investigation training, risk management essentials, competent person training, property loss control services, and workplace safety surveys. This is awesome for our industry, and a lot of our pool companies can get discounts. Aquatic facilities could do the same thing and save up to 15% if they inquire with their insurance carriers to implement workplace safety and hazmat courses into their training. So check it out. Again, sometimes we do ridiculous things or, people aren't thinking. And this gentleman's working with a power tool in bare feet in a pool on an aluminum ladder. It's a pretty classic picture, but not very safe. Or how about a forklift that lifts up another forklift that's lifting heavy equipment? So again, I encourage the use of PPE. You'll see the slide a couple times in this presentation because when we put on the gear, we get into the zone and we are working to be safe. Safety in the workplace and at the company party. This is what's called a hot tub. Okay. We need to, again, practice workplace safety anytime, anywhere, even in the off hours. Okay. Just more pictures of silly human antics. Okay. Barbecues in the middle of a pool with electrical floating on flip flops.
Hi, Laura. How are you? I'm so sorry.
Yes.
This is Malvina, your moderator, and I apologize for interrupting, but we're having trouble seeing your slides.
Oh, okay. Let me see what's going on.
I can see you. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm going to try to share again. Okay. Thank you. Are you able to see it?
I'm still, I can see the mindfulness slide, which I know we were a little bit further than that. That's the last one I see.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Can you see this in the field?
No. What I am seeing actually is your view.
My view. Okay.
If you can maybe put it on the PowerPoint view, that might help.
Okay, I will do that. And that just happened?
It happened a little bit ago, but I thought it was my connection. But one of the ladies expressed the same thing just now in the chat.
Okay, great. Thank you for stopping me.
Okay, so perfect. Now I still see your view, but we can move on to the, I think, yes, if you do that, I think it's not the PowerPoint presentation, it's still your view, but I think if you press on it, we can all see, as it enlarges.
Is this okay?
In the
you can
field.
see that?
Yeah.
In the field?
All right.
Okay,
I'm here if you need me.
Okay, thank you. I'll just continue in this mode. All right, so in the field, we have to handle chemicals. It's our job. And again, if you are a homeowner and you have pool chemicals, you've got to handle those in order to treat your pool. It's, again, to protect life and limb, it's important for us to handle these chemicals safely. So always add chemical to water and never add water to chemical. When you add water to chemical, it can make the chemical volatile in the sense of calcium hypochlorite, which is a granular shock, or chlorine. It can actually start to fume and knock a person out and possibly catch fire. So in our aquatic facilities, if we have feeders, chemical feeders, there's bins for us to put chlorine and acid into them. They need to be marked appropriately. In between the two green arrows is a proper sticker that should go on the bins, as opposed to just saying it's a chlorine tank or an acid tank. That is helpful, but you also have to have what's this type of sticker, which is a safety data, based off a safety data sheet. We'll talk about that in a minute. So to reduce the chances of injury, we need to keep materials and equipment as close as possible to their destination, keeping a job site organized and clean. Now, again, people in our industry are doing this repeatedly during the day. So we want them to think about being energy efficient on their own systems. So safe handling, storage, and transport of pool chemicals. Again, this applies to our professionals as well as homeowners, because if you go to the pool store and buy liquid chlorine and acid, you want to transport them very mindfully to your home. So safety on the road, it's not only our life on the line. When we load up a truck in the morning, we take responsibility for others as well. So driving safely here in South Florida, especially, we have 15-year-olds and 115-year-old drivers, and we've got trucks loaded full of hazardous chemicals. We need to monitor our load, keep it secure, and in case of even a minor accident, we've got to check for leaks and always clean up even the smallest spills immediately.
Hi again, Laura. Malvina again. I was just informed that if you go to your left-hand side, where all the way at the top, where you see the little from the beginning from current slide icon, if you press from current slide, that's going to be the view that we all can see only your slide.
Are you
I'm
able
able to see it, but again, it's in your view, which is, if that's all we can do, I'd rather go ahead and keep it that way. But if possible, can you give it just a try if you could press from current slide?
I did. That's what I've been doing.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it as is because I don't want to lose the feed altogether. And the information is very important. So I'm here if you need me. We'll leave it alone. Thank you, Laura.
Malvina, can you see the check your vehicle
I am
right
on
now?
the drive safely.
Okay.
There we go. Check your vehicle.
How about that? Okay, I'll have to work with this
no, that's
the way it is right now. I don't know what's going on.
No problem.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so check your vehicle. Again, this goes for our professionals and as well as homeowners. Make sure tires have good tread and are properly inflated. Check your lights, including brake signals and signal lights. Check the horn. A lot of times in our profession, we've got to use the horn, or not even in our profession, just everyday driving. Make sure windows and mirrors are clean. Wipers are working because we can get those sudden rainstorms. And check your trailer. All lights work and you're not dragging your wagon, or safety chain if you do have a trailer. DOT, which is the Department of Transportation, can and will find those not in compliance, especially when there's hazardous material on board. So there's also, we have applicators that refinish pools. They've got to check their equipment, make sure their hoses are in good working order, are clear, electrical wires are in place, and all the belts are working as well. Drive defensively. This goes for everyone. Be smart and be conscious. Yield the right of way for those less fortunate, meaning the not so smart and the not so conscious. It happens. We get distracted. Avoid road rage and smiles instead of fingers. So when missing the turn, go the extra mile instead of cutting off. And all vehicles come with turn signals as standard equipment, so we encourage everybody to use them. Parking courteously. Again, a lot of times we're in neighborhoods doing residential pools. Make sure traffic can pass. Use cones. I'm a big proponent of cones. You can see a lot of utilities like AT&T or Comcast or air conditioner service vehicles, anybody, are carrying cones now. They put one at the front of the truck, one at the back of the truck. And what it does is it forces us to walk around the vehicle each time we enter, or we are at our place, our stop, or when we leave our stop. So what's wrong with this picture? This can be, we call them one pollers. It's one person that works for themselves and they take care of a few pools, but they are storing everything in the bed of their truck. The problem with this is that all these things can fly out in a sharp turn, or hitting the brakes, or accelerating too fast. So, and it's not professional. So keep the truck clean. Again, dirt, debris, residue, oil, grease, and soap buildup on the back of a truck can be unsightly, but can also be dangerous if chemicals leak and spill onto it. So we encourage our professionals to remove all containers and equipment and thoroughly hose out the bed of the truck at least once a week. Or you could perhaps get Banksy or a famous artist, graffiti artist that draws on the dirt, using the dirt on the back of your truck to put up a picture. So again, just funny little humor things we try to keep interesting with workplace safety. So be sure to separate chemicals that could potentially react if accidentally mixed. This is oxidizers, disinfectants, and acids, so your chlorine and your acids. We encourage using inert substances like diatomaceous earth or DE, soda ash, or filter aids to serve as barriers between those chemicals. Or we place each chemical in its own separate container, and we encourage everyone not to intermingle chemicals by sharing scoopers or containers. Again, this is applicable to homeowners as well. So if you want to see the hazards of calcium hypochlorite or any of the pool chemicals that you have at your home or at your facility, you can get on YouTube and plug it into the search engine there, and it'll show you quite some revealing pictures about how chemicals react in certain environments. So storage or trailer layouts, this is again just a visual aid for a lot of our technicians, maybe some that are starting out. And it shows how we separate the acid on the left. We have barriers in between, and the chlorine is on the right. And those elongated chlorine pictures there, rectangles, are actually like carriers for the chlorine. So if there is a spill within one of them, it'll stay contained within that unit. We recommend carrying cleanup gear because in our field we'll experience at least some type of spill. So you can buy 40 kits from Amazon or whoever online for $40 up to $400, but it could cost you up to $4,000 per hazmat suit in an accident. That means if there's someone in our industry has an accident and there's a spill and somebody says there's chlorine on the road or pool chemicals on the road, the fire department dresses up in their hazmat suits. It costs about $4,000 for them to do that. And pool companies can get charged for it. So carrying necessary documents is very important in our industry, not only to have them in our workplace, in our shop or our warehouse, but also in our trucks. They're called SDS, or safety data sheets. And we should have a safety data sheet for every single chemical that we have on a truck or in our warehouse. This includes toilet cleaners, hand soaps, hand sanitizers, bug sprays, whatever that we have that we also use in addition to pool chemicals, that we have SDS sheets for those chemicals. Safety data sheets are categorized. They're numbered 1 through 16 on the sheets, and they use pictograms. They are HCS and GHS formatted, which means that they're recognized globally. So no matter where you are on the planet, if there's a chemical being used in France, they'll have the same exact pictograms and language used on the safety data sheet for that chemical. Who comes up with those safety data sheets? The manufacturers of the chemical. So if, again, you work at an aquatic facility or you are a homeowner, you can obtain safety data sheets just by calling the manufacturer. So if it's laundry detergent, you're using All. You can call All, whoever, the company that makes All, and get the safety data sheet for the laundry detergent. You can also do it for Clorox, which is a household bleach, and you could get that. So we, again, encourage everyone to carry all necessary documents. SDS documents must be within driver's reach to hand to an officer. So if a pool technician gets pulled over by the Department of Transportation, they have to be able to show those SDS sheets or documents to the officer. So we encourage every professional to put together a notebook, maybe laminated sheets, since we're pool people and we are wet a lot of the time, either from working out in the summer heat and sweating, or actually getting wet from the weather, or working inside a pool. And they are also available through downloaded, you can download them from websites from the manufacturer. And the company Avery, who makes the binder tabs, has how to make your own SDS binder. So that's kind of interesting. All right, safety data sheets, again, must accompany all chemicals, and they are available digitally, or you can call the manufacturer. Placards for vehicles are, these are the diamond-shaped signage that you see on trucks. They're color-coded, and they usually have a number. That number will tell the fire department exactly what is on board if there is an accident. And the placards have to be, anytime a truck is doing a delivery and has all of these chemicals in their truck, they have to have the associated placard for the chemicals in the truck. Once they deliver everything, they have to take the placard off the truck in case there's an accident, that the fire department's not dressing up in their hazmat and there's nothing on the truck. So we have to pay attention to it a lot. Service, vehicle-mounted service carts. These are very popular. A lot of them, you see technicians driving around with these carts on the back. The carts have a little bin at the bottom that can carry chlorine and acid. We encourage our professionals to not carry them at the same time, because if you mix chlorine and acid, you could get mustard gas, which can kill people and, harm the environment at great lengths. So we have to pay attention to that. So we discourage use of that. We encourage them to put them back in the bed of the truck. This was an advertisement for one of the service carts that recently came out. And although that they were just trying to show that it could carry the chemicals in the service cart, it's a mixed message, because again, we try to tell people not to carry those in the back when they're traveling. In case of an emergency, there's always a phone number on the SDS sheet by the manufacturer that you can call and to figure out what you need to do in case there's a spill. But there's also chemical companies or chemical alert networks like Chemtrek that you can call, and they can walk you through it. It's similar to poison control. So share your knowledge. Even if you employ one worker, you're required by law to inform him or her about the hazards and safety precautions and emergency procedures pertaining to each and every chemical you carry. You can do this easily by having an SDS notebook available in the work areas, like a retail store, an office, vehicles, etc. Hazmat or workplace safety online training courses can be free by most insurance companies, or they'll cost as little as $20 to go through a workplace safety or a hazmat course. Or again, I will be happy to share this information if you want to share it with your team. A good safety program includes information about the communication program itself and how to implement it to our company. So how do we communicate our chemical use or hazmat or workplace safety within our company? Do we do it quarterly, yearly, bi-yearly? Instruction in the emergency procedures and proper application, transportation, storage, and disposal of these chemicals, and a description of how to recognize and understand and use all chemical labels. Again, safety data sheets are in place for those. Okay, have I showed this slide already? Yes, encourage the use of PPE. Again, when you put on the gear, you have safety in mind. And that is a wrap. So I will be happy to take any questions at this time.
So hi again. I failed to properly
Hello.
introduce you, and I am so sorry for that. Your wealth of knowledge is, I mean, it's amazing. I was looking at your bio, and you are like the guru, apart from the education, um, component, which to me is very important. I see that you've built up to where you're at now because you've been in every single component pretty much of the industry. So that is a lot to say for your knowledge and your ability to see how one thing involves another. So thank you so very much, Laura or Laura. You've been amazing, and I appreciate that. We can go ahead and open up our questions and answer session. I did have a comment on our chat, and
Okay.
it was by Sylvia. And Sylvia mentioned that these chemical spills happened in Pompey Park in Delray Beach, where there was an acid and chlorine mix. And it led to a large bomb explosion. So that, I think that's what you were talking about. And she goes ahead and says that 10 firefighters had to come. So I know that you talked about the 40 to 400 and then the 4,000. Do we know if
Sure.
because it was a government, or not a government, but yeah, exactly. What would happen in those cases? Because she does mention that the lead firefighter placed acid in the chlorinator. That's what she's telling me. Lifeguard, yes.
The lead lifeguard.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, not the firefighter, right. Yeah, those pictures that I had that had the two containers that said, one said chlorine, one said acid, that photograph came from a similar situation where they were not marked, and they were not marked, and somebody put the acid in the chlorine. So what happens is reactions start to happen, and the tech a lot of times can get out, but if they're slow on it and working on something else and are distracted, they can get knocked out by it, or worse off is stop breathing from it. So what happens is the Department of Health will come in, the EPA will come in, and they will force the facility to get it straightened out. So far as not the person, the lifeguard who caused it, not being fired. I don't know the dynamics of that. I'm sure that person had to, is reaping, having to deal with that from that happening. So, yeah, I see. The plastic lid popped off and hit his back. Yeah. The lifeguard's lucky. The lifeguard's very lucky, and is probably maybe ultra safety conscious now because he or she had a direct experience. So, might be a situation where the person's the best person on the job because they had to go through something terrible like that. So we're just going to hope for the best, Sylvia.
I know that oftentimes, like you mentioned, the person that it happens to, it will never happen to again, and does become an advocate for that. So let's hope that is what happens. Yeah. So does anybody else have any questions for Laura? As always,
thanks, Bill.
It's really, really good to have you, Laura. Again, Laura Costanza is the Director of Education with Team Horner Group, and we see her number one fan, Bill, just chime in. I wonder why. No. Honestly, we're very happy to have had you. I'll tell you just a little short thing about what's going on in my life right now. I'm rebuilding our pool. And as I see the pictures, wonderful. And as I hear you speak, I'm like, oh, like, I got to check this. I have to make sure of that. So it's so good that you can put it into the perspective of not only the industry, but for the homeowner as well. Thank you so very much for that once again.
Thank you very much for having me. Sylvia, thank you for your contribution today. Malvina. Yeah, I've had a good time in the industry. I've been around for about 30 years and like you said, in those different aspects. And, I just kind of got the dream job. So I'm enjoying it and I'm relishing this opportunity. So any way that I can help you all be better at what you do, you will ultimately help me be better at what I do. So do reach out. If you would like this presentation, I'll be happy to share it, because the more, like you said, we become advocates for this, and I don't mind
sharing. Thank you so very much. And that is a true educator right there. I know that when I'm educating and I'm out there in the field, it becomes somewhat personal, to get the message across. So definitely appreciate you. And I guess if nobody has any questions or any comments, we could give you a moment to breathe, get a drink of water. And
Sure.
What a day. Beautiful, to a wonderful conference, or symposium, I should say. Yes.
Yes, it is. It's very nice having everybody here. And
absolutely. So I don't know if Bill wants to come on, or if we were going to go ahead and go to the main or to go ahead and switch.
Well, yeah. I can stop.
So no, I think
I can come back in as a participant and get off.
Okay, perfect.
So he can come in. Okay. And again, just reach out, anybody. Appreciate your time this morning and stick with it. Bill's got some great information on Every Child a Swimmer, which Dr. Smith talked about as well this morning. So it's going to be a dynamite.
Thank you.
And thanks, Malvina.
I apologize for chiming in a little late. I was trying to work out the kinks through mine.
No, don't. So. Yeah, I'd hate to be sitting there and. All
right. So.
No,
perfect. So Bill is telling us to head to our sessions. So we'll do. Thank you so much once again. Okay. Have a great symposium.
Thank you. See you later. Bye-bye.